There are claims that wiretaps, ballistics reports, and interviews with multiple informants are all part of a larger investigation, and it looks like Lil Baby might be in serious trouble. At first, he had no idea that his actions could be linked to something as dangerous as a RICO case, but now, things are getting real. Lil Baby is reportedly on the run because of the growing fear that he could be arrested after a deadly shootout, a tragic incident that involved 2 kids. The situation has escalated, with wiretaps showing a full-blown gang war unfolding. The feds have been gathering evidence, and Lil Baby's name keeps appearing in the court documents, as the violent clash between the 4PF and OMF gangs continues to escalate. This all started unraveling after Young Thug's case made people start questioning which rapper might be next. It's no secret that Atlanta's rap scene has been full of tensions, but now Lil Baby's name is being brought up in connection to a federal manhunt. Despite the success and fame he has achieved with hits like The Bigger Picture, Lil Baby now finds himself facing something far more serious and dangerous. This isn't just about making music anymore, it's about navigating through the dangerous world of gang violence. To understand how Lil Baby got to this point, we have to look back a few years. It all started with a deep-rooted tension between Lil Baby's crew, 4PF, and a rival set called OMF, which is allegedly connected to a notorious gang called Goodfellas. This wasn't just about rap beef, it was personal, involving years of betrayal, violence, and bloodshed. One of the first major incidents happened in August 2021 when a known 4PF member, Marcus "Big Mark" Holland, was killed. This loss hit hard, and it set off a chain of events that fueled the ongoing conflict. Fast forward to May 2024, when Lil Baby decided to shoot a music video in a neighborhood controlled by OMF. The location was enemy territory, and law enforcement believes that Lil Baby knew exactly what he was doing by choosing that spot. The shoot quickly turned into chaos when gunshots rang out. 3 people were injured, and a local woman who was caught in the crossfire said she was lucky to be alive. Despite Lil Baby walking away unscathed, this was just the beginning of a violent retaliation. Within weeks, the streets exploded into a full-blown war, with OMF members targeted in retaliation for the music video shoot. On June 29, 2024, OMF member Trevon Turner was killed in southwest Atlanta in what police say was a direct hit from 4PF. The shooting was tied to the earlier music video incident, and the authorities didn't hesitate to point fingers at Lil Baby, identifying him as the leader of 4PF. Then came even more tragedy. Just days after Trevon Turner's death, 2 13-year-old boys, Layman Freeman and J. Cody Davis, were killed in a shooting that had nothing to do with them but was part of the ongoing gang violence. The police blamed Lil Baby, accusing him of sparking the chain of events that led to these innocent children's deaths. By now, the media storm was out of control, and Lil Baby's name was everywhere. He wasn't trending because of a new hit song, but because of all the reports and leaked wiretaps that painted him as the person pulling the strings behind the violence. The situation worsened when an informant claimed that one of the suspects in the killings had said he wanted Lil Baby dead, but would settle for someone from his crew. Things became even more serious when wiretap audio was presented in court. In it, someone allegedly discussed Lil Baby putting a price on a rival's head. The details were chilling. The conversation suggested that Lil Baby was involved in orchestrating violence, which, if true, could tie him directly to a gang war. This is exactly what the RICO laws are designed to prosecute. RICO laws are used to take down organized crime, and if these wiretaps are accurate, it could spell big trouble for Lil Baby. It gets eerie when you look back at the events of 2022. Quavius Wilson and 2 other men, Nate Benford and Kion Davis, were involved in a major case. Nate, who was connected to Lil Baby's crew, became a key witness after Davis flipped on him. Davis testified, saying Nate was the shooter and that the crime was linked to 4PF, Lil Baby's crew. This testimony was a breakthrough for prosecutors. They now had proof that 4PF wasn't just a rap label, but a real gang. But the story takes another dark turn. Just days after the Georgia Public Defender's RICO unit announced that they were preparing to indict 4PF and OMF, the rival gang, Kion Davis, the star witness, was shot and killed. He had been on a 15-year probation after being caught up in a violent gang situation. The incident took place near Lakewood Avenue, a part of Atlanta that's increasingly resembling a crime hotspot rather than a normal neighborhood. The police rushed to the scene, found Davis with gunshot wounds, and took him to the hospital, but he did not survive. Meanwhile, just a few blocks away, another tragedy struck. Young Scooter, a longtime friend of rapper Future and an affiliate of Free Bands, reportedly died after trying to escape from the police, injuring his leg in the process. The police say there is no official connection between the two deaths, but the fact that two men, both tied to the rap scene, died on the same night in such a small radius seems more than coincidental. Some are calling it retaliation, while others believe it's part of a bigger effort to clean up the streets before the major RICO indictments are handed out. The recent death of Kion Davis, one of the last remaining witnesses in the 2022 case, marks a terrifying escalation of events. If the authorities were trying to build a strong case, they are now facing a troubling reality. Their key witnesses are disappearing fast, and with each loss, the likelihood of a solid conviction grows slimmer. This is not just another case in a long line of criminal investigations. This is a stark reminder of how deep the entanglements go between the rap world and street violence. The back-and-forth cycle of rap lyrics spilling into real-life violence, followed by the tragic consequences, seems to be playing out yet again. Kion Davis was someone who could have helped make sense of a complex web of crime and retaliation, but now he is gone. His testimony was crucial for the authorities as it confirmed what they had suspected. 4PF was more than just a rap label. It was allegedly a front for something far more dangerous, a gang involved in illegal activities. Davis had identified Nate Benford, a known affiliate of Lil Baby's 4PF crew, as the shooter in a violent incident. This was the breakthrough the authorities needed to finally expose the criminal activity behind the scenes. But with Davis's death, the prosecution is left with fewer leads, and their case has taken a significant blow. This situation echoes the events of 2022 when DA Fani Willis launched a massive racketeering case against Young Thug's YSL, Young Slime Life, crew. The cycle is hauntingly similar: a thriving rap label, its affiliates involved in violence and street crime, and the eventual crackdown by law enforcement. In both cases, the authorities are not just after the artists, but the entire organization behind the scenes. It's not just about the lyrics and the music, it's about the real-life operations that those lyrics allegedly represent. As DA Willis goes after high-profile figures in the rap world, the chilling connection between rap music and criminal activity becomes more apparent. DA Willis has already warned that 2 more major RICO indictments are expected to drop in Atlanta within the next 60 days. This warning has raised the stakes for everyone involved, especially for Lil Baby, who has found himself in the media spotlight, not for his music, but because of his potential involvement in the ongoing investigation. As the authorities gather more evidence, they are closing in on the possibility of indicting more people connected to the world of street gangs and rap labels. Lil Baby's name keeps coming up, and though he remains silent, the pressure surrounding him continues to grow. The federal authorities are digging deeper than ever before, and the Department of Justice has recently dropped RICO charges on another gang, the Goodfellas. The case surrounding the Goodfellas gang saw prosecutors go to extreme lengths, even trying to seal court files because they feared that key witnesses would be leaked. This tactic shows just how high the stakes have become. The authorities know that in these kinds of cases, protecting the integrity of the investigation is crucial, and any leak can derail months, if not years, of work. The connection between rap music and street gangs has become more than just a theory. It is now part of the public conversation, with prosecutors using rap lyrics as evidence in court. The legal system in Georgia has made it clear that anything related to street violence, even if it is disguised in song lyrics, can be used as evidence. In the case of Young Thug and YSL, lyrics that referenced violence, retaliation, and gang culture were used as part of the evidence to prosecute members of the group. This has created an environment where rappers are now facing legal consequences for the content of their music. For Lil Baby, his lyrics have been scrutinized in the same way, with federal authorities looking closely at the words he has spoken in his songs. For Lil Baby, the situation is becoming increasingly difficult to navigate. On one hand, he has distanced himself from the streets, publicly stating that he wants to focus on positive changes, like investing in his community and creating opportunities for young artists. On the other hand, the authorities are tying him to a criminal enterprise, using both his connections and his music as evidence of his involvement. This rebranding effort by Lil Baby, when he transitioned from 4PF to Glass Window Entertainment, was seen by many as an attempt to distance himself from the negative associations with his old label. He publicly said that 4PF, the name that once represented his crew, was dead. But the reality is that the transition has not erased the past, and the ties to his former crew remain, despite his efforts to make a clean break. The federal investigation into Lil Baby and his connections to 4PF is intensifying. The question that remains is whether his rebranding will be enough to protect him from the growing storm. The authorities are not so easily convinced. They argue that simply changing the name of a label or moving away from street affiliations does not erase the deeper connections and activities that were tied to it. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation has already linked 4PF to the Crips gang, and the rebranding effort is unlikely to change that. Even if Lil Baby did not directly participate in any violent acts, his association with individuals involved in criminal activities might be enough to bring him into the crosshairs of law enforcement. As Lil Baby's name continues to trend in the media, it is clear that he is caught in the middle of something much bigger than himself. If the authorities do decide to bring charges against him, it could send shockwaves through the rap industry. The indictment of a star like Lil Baby would change the game for everyone involved, sending a strong message to those who walk the line between fame and criminal activity. It would be a pivotal moment in the ongoing clash between rap and street violence. At the same time, Lil Baby's silence is only adding to the speculation surrounding him. While he has not commented extensively on the situation, his cryptic responses to the growing concerns about a potential RICO case only fuel the fire. His silence has led to widespread speculation about his possible indictment, and as the clock ticks down to the 60-day mark, many are wondering what will happen next. In the end, the question remains, will Lil Baby face the same fate as Young Thug and others before him? Or will he manage to escape the weight of these charges, despite the mounting evidence against him? As the investigation continues and the bodies pile up, one thing is clear: this is far from over, and the pressure is only building. The next few months will determine the fate of one of rap's biggest stars and could set a precedent for the future of the industry itself. The cycle of violence, music, and law enforcement is far from finished, and it is only a matter of time before the next chapter unfolds. In a public statement, Major Ralph Wolf from the Atlanta Police Department made it clear who he thought was to blame. He said, "Lamont Freeman was allowed to be a 13-year-old for 27 minutes before gang violence ultimately took his life. Gang violence that was orchestrated by adults in our city. And there's only one person to blame for that, and that's the Atlanta-based rapper who decided to go into rival gang territory and shoot a music video where he knew he shouldn't have been. That rapper is Lil Baby." Wolf went on to say that the police would not let this go and promised they would work tirelessly to hold Lil Baby and his affiliates responsible. Legal analysts are now predicting that Lil Baby will face indictment in the coming weeks. George Chidi, an Atlanta journalist, reported that an indictment could happen within 90 days. Even Sean Hoover, who leads the RICO unit at Georgia's Public Defender Council, confirmed that his office is preparing for a racketeering indictment against 4PF and OMF. Hoover expects Lil Baby to be included in these charges. Despite all of this, Lil Baby has remained quiet. He hasn't given any interviews or made any statements to clear his name. Instead, he posted a cryptic response on social media, saying, "Only God can judge me," to a tweet about the looming RICO charges. He also shared a post saying, "Thanks for all the concerns. Please don't be misinformed by fake news. I'm overly good." In the middle of all the chaos, he released a new album, which had many fans wondering if he was trying to divert attention away from the drama. But no matter how much he tries to shift the focus, when the feds are on your tail, it is unlikely that any PR strategy will help. What's particularly surprising is how much Lil Baby tried to distance himself from the streets. He made efforts to invest in the community, promote Black entrepreneurship, and engage in philanthropy. In 2023, he even publicly shut down 4PF and rebranded his business as Glass Window Entertainment, saying it was not a label, but a way of life. Lil Baby had been trying to move forward, away from his past, acknowledging that the actions of others could reflect on him. He admitted that he never expected things to go this way, but now that he knows, he feels he would be a fool to keep going down the same path. However, it seems that the past is not so easily left behind, and the repercussions are catching up with him. If I had any kind of control, things would have been different. I would have completely changed the way everything works. It is not just about the police, it is bigger than that. I never intended to make my label something that reflected who I was or the things I talk about. Now, when I meet young guys or new artists who want to start their own label, I tell them, start your label with something that has nothing to do with anything or anyone except your artists. On the surface, it seemed like I had made a clean break. I knew, once I started saying "by fool," and then others started saying it, the world would start saying it too. It would become our way of life. But it is not just about being a part of any gang or any kind of violence. It's crazy how quickly everything changed. When my crew for PF became what it became, I saw the impact it had. It was like everything I worked for was put to rest. When the person who created 4PF with me passed away, it felt like the end of that chapter. But everything changes when bodies keep dropping and prosecutors do not buy your story. They claim the rebranding was just a public relations move, a way to avoid legal consequences while still running the same operations behind the scenes. They also pointed out that the Georgia Bureau of Investigation had already linked 4PF to the Crips gang, and changing the name would not change that. Even rap lyrics are fair game in Georgia, as we saw with the YSL case. If Lil Baby raps about violence or street life, it could be used as evidence against him, no matter how much he tries to separate his art from reality. With Fani Willis, the same district attorney who took down YSL, still in charge and promising more major RICO indictments, the pressure is building. If Lil Baby gets indicted, it will not only shake Atlanta, but it will send ripples through the entire rap industry. So, what is taking so long? Well, Fani Willis has had the resources to push forward with full force, thanks to federal pandemic relief money. This allowed her to hire more people and focus entire courtrooms on single cases like YSL. But now that the funding is gone, the county refused to keep the money flowing, and Willis threatened to sue them, saying if they cut her budget, people would die. This wasn't a metaphor. She was serious. The county's jail system is already in crisis, and without proper funding, case backlogs will grow, people will stay in jail longer, violence will rise, and the system will break down. But there's another issue. Her office has refused to release details about what the YSL case actually cost, even after multiple requests. They've even been fined over $50,000 for dodging public records requests. A state Senate committee tried to subpoena her financials, but that only covered a small portion of her dealings, leaving the rest locked away. All of this drama is happening even before she files the next two major indictments. If one of them ends up being Lil Baby, it will be a repeat of what happened with Young Thug, Ghana, and YSL. So, the big question is this another witch hunt, or the start of something much bigger for someone who thought the feds weren't paying attention? With the star witness now dead and the bodies piling up, the state is saying a RICO indictment is coming. What happens next? Let us know in the comments, and if you think this is crazy, just wait until you see what's coming in our next video.